Is there an alien race living in our oceans? I was thinking about the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and how the ship, the Scotia, it got attacked while it was in the ocean. And let me just read this really fast, this one little part. Hello, Applebrooks, honey. It got attacked while it was in the ocean. And let's come over here and look at this really fast. Let's see what it was about, you all. Okay, so they thought they were sinking. This is the first chapter of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And there was a hole 2 meters in width on the steamer's underside. And I think there was like 5 levels. But when they got to dry dock, look at this right here. When they got to dry dock, there gaped a symmetrical gash in the shape of an isosceles triangle. This breach in the sheet iron was, get this, it was, we got to get all over here, you all. It was so perfectly formed that no punch from like a monster or something like this could have done a cleaner job of it. Consequently, it must have been produced by a perforating tool of uncommon toughness. Plus, after being launched with prodigious power and then piercing 4 centimeters of sheet iron, this tool, let's get back to it, had needed to withdraw itself by a backward motion which was truly inexplicable. Something pierced the Scotia with like an oscillating triangular shape. Now, you know, no whale could do that. No narwhal or nothing. So, piercing through iron. I think it's supposed to have been like 1 inch and maybe 3/8 thickness of total iron. We know that the oceans have not been explored very much at all. Okay, and there are flying saucers that fly out of the ocean. They can be seen in the skies. They can be seen everywhere, and you can see other types of UFOs and not just the flying saucers. So is there, let's see what we wrote here on our thing, is there an alien race living in our oceans? And I really think there are, and I know a lot of other people think there are. They've seen it. There has to be something going on, otherwise our oceans would have been explored much more than they are right now. And you know, when all these ships started sinking and stuff way back then, they didn't know who it was, but when they found out, you know, that, hey, this made a triangular shaped hole into the side of a ship that had iron, you know, it's not, no, it's not a mammal that would did it, not a fish, not a narwhal or anything like that with a great big old, sounds like an alien species to me of superior knowledge. It really does. You see them several times over the Atlantic. They're coast to coast. So I ran into this article right here, and let me see if I put the, yeah, I put the link to this article right here. Let's look at this, you all. So, time for disclosure. We have never been alone. So this is the site, and I do want to check this out. Let me come over here so I can see the comments too, you all. I haven't really been on here before. I just found it, but there's too much going on to be dismissed as just birds or any kinds of things. And with this 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that's no myth because it was happening. Everyone, hello. So we're over here. Do UFOs actually belong to an alien race coming from Venus to live in our oceans? You can see the timestamp by Nancy Thames. So let's see what Nancy has to say. She's got a UFO thing. In the solar system, there are 3 planets in the habitable zone. Conditions on Mars and Venus are thought to be comparable to those on Earth. Scientists believe that Mars has been habitable for hundreds of millions of years, but not long enough for sophisticated life to emerge. Venus, on the other hand, has had surface water and habitable circumstances for nearly 3 billion years, and it may have been habitable for 700 million years ago. Astrobiologists recently discovered revolutionary potential evidence of life in Venus's higher clouds. The statement indicated the existence of a phosphine, a rare and often toxic chemical that is frequently associated with live beings on Earth, you all. So this is interesting. I haven't really heard of this before. According to a theory, intelligent life evolved on Venus before it evolved on Earth. Have you heard that? Have you heard that, you all, that intelligent life evolved on Venus before on Earth? As a result, parties of Venetians left their planet to study the Earth. Was that who, what was that guy's name who came to Earth? Valiant Thor, was he a Venetian? Is that who he was? A Venetian? And he wasn't really received that well. He went back home. It wasn't Valiant Thor. He was not a Venetian. So the difficulty was that Earth was a frozen snowball at the time. And the conditions for life were not ideal, but there was a liquid water beneath the frozen covering of the ocean. And some of it was fairly warm area of geothermal springs. So they had the microbes, Earth hundreds of millions of years. According to a national survey, only a tiny portion of the ocean has been examined. You all listen to that. Only a tiny portion of the ocean has been examined. That's right, Valiant Thor. Only 5% of the Earth's seas have been studied and documented, with the oceans beneath the surface receiving the most attention. The result is mostly unknown and unexplored by mankind. And the idea also explains why some technologies exhibited by UFOs appear to be magical in nature. Look at this one coming out. It's not magic. It's simply technology that has advanced hundreds of millions of years. The notion is more plausible than interplanetary travel, lost civilizations, or time travel. It explains why, despite their clear presence on our, which we believe, planet, flying and underwater vehicles with magical technologies, they are not eager to contact us. So they don't want to contact us, you all. Do we want to contact them? Do the beings in the ocean want Earth to interfere with their world down there? Do they think that we should be interfering? Do they think that we should be doing things in the ocean floor? Should there be atomic things going off in the ocean floor and drilling deep down? Should there be stuff like that? Doing the big oil wells and all this stuff, right into the ocean floor? That if they live there, I'm sure that's part of their world, and they probably don't like it. That's right. Hello, Muddy Girl. So let's look at this, you all. So they inhabited the earth long before humanity did. This is according to theory. Imagine what humans will be capable of technologically in 700 million years, and you will get an answer regarding the level of technology of alien earthlings dwelling in the world's water. Well, I won't even be around for 700 million years, neither will you, unless we do this thing called reincarnation. We keep reincarnating until 700 million years come. That'd be too many lifetimes for me. The idea also answers questions of why aliens should be concerned about humanity and warn them about the hazards of nuclear weapons, and occasionally deliver signals about the need to limit the population and stop being harmful to the earth on which people live. People obtained by the globe by natural evolution, according to scientists. But if Venetians received this same planet before any life developed on it, let alone intelligent life, then they have the same rights on Earth as indigenous Earthlings. So you all believe that the Venetians, if this theory is true, that this is their planet too. Is that who Admiral Byrd visited when he went to the center of the Earth? Were they like something like the Venetians, and this is their planet too? Could it be that? And they don't like it. They don't like it. He said, God forbid, if something like that ever did happen. That's the video that we did earlier this week. God forbid if that type of war did happen. And because if it did happen, it would be across the top of the world, is what he said. What humans do with the planet cannot be indifferent, for it is our shared home. And when a person kills it, he kills the habitat of and home of extraterrestrial colonists, for whom the Earth has become a true home because their home planet has long ceased to be suited for life. This idea can also explain who and why, at various moments in human history, people were aided in their development. Now, that is true. Who taught them agriculture and assisted them in acquiring the fundamental technologies that enabled the advancement of our human civilization? Many cultures have tales in literary records claiming that the gods came from Venus. Did you all ever hear that? That the gods came from Venus? I've not heard that. Please remember, we all have different opinions. Yes, we do. Think before you speak or write something that is cruel to others. After all, we are only humans. Wishing you clear skies and wide eyes. To share your experiences or just leave a comment, there is an area below. So that's interesting. Let's see if anybody commented. Nobody commented. I think you have to leave your email and then they decide if you can comment, you all. So this is from Nancy Thames. And it is interesting. I've not heard that the planet, the Earth, had Venetians on it before. I haven't. And we do know that Admiral Byrd, according to his diaries or whatever it is, that he went to the center of the Earth, and the leader of the center of the Earth, was it the center of the Earth, or did he go to the North Pole? Did he go to the North Pole, and was it there that he went inside the Earth and they took him to the leader of the Earth? Because I'm thinking, if it was the center of the Earth, then he would have had to go all the way down from the North Pole, go all the way down inside the Earth. Yeah, I saw where he went to the South Pole expedition too. So there is a leader. Is there a leader in there? And are they the Venetians? Because if you have the Venetians in the center of the Earth, living inside the Earth, inside the oceans and stuff, did Admiral Byrd go to water? Are the Venetians an aquatic species? Can they swim in the water without ships and stuff like that? Just beyond the Americas, Genin Amobius, an unidentified aerial phenomenon. The Nordic vrills. I've read something about the vrills. I'm getting conflicting information about the vrills. Some say that the vril really, it was like a substance that was put into a being that gave them the energy, but they're very, very powerful regardless. And they have a strict culture that they live by, strict guidelines and stuff like that. And they don't tolerate non-conformity, and they don't tolerate beings who want to disrupt their way of life. Good afternoon. He went through the North Pole and he was pulled into the Earth. Thank you, Merritt Evans. And is in the center of the Earth, but I don't think it's the middle of the Earth. Yeah, that's really interesting. And Carrie Mays, well, you're welcome. What got me was the 20,000 leagues under the sea, when the ship, they couldn't believe their eyes, because 2.5 meters below the water line of the ship, there gaped a symmetrical gash in the shape of an isosceles triangle, a triangle. And this breach of the iron sheet was so perfectly formed that no punch could have done a cleaner job. So you know that's mechanical like in nature. It must have been produced by a perforating tool of uncommon toughness, to go through that hole and being launched with a prodigious power and then piercing 4 centimeters of iron, sheet iron. This tool also had to be withdrawn by going backwards, is how it would have been gone. Backwards motion. It's like when you drill into something with your drill bit, and when you pull it out, you have to slowly pull it out. But yeah, could you imagine, how could a triangular shape, if you had a drill bit, there's no way you'd have a drill bit. It'd be like doing a jackhammer, though. If you had a jackhammer and you had a triangle on the tip of that jackhammer at the bottom, it would continually like go, 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 go. But it would have to be so precise, you all. Could you imagine that? To make a perfect triangular shape, it would have to have been something going like that. Not just drilling, something like tapping with such force. They use Braille. Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about that hole, Susan B., honey. Yeah, so I don't know if we have anything on this earth that could do something like that. This is back in 1876, I think they said, when this hole was made in this ship. Some people say, oh, well, that's just a fable. That never did happen. How come it didn't happen? Is it because these people say it didn't happen? There are people on the earth who will not even entertain the thought of any life other than human, is what there are. People who will not entertain it. So let's check out this page a tad bit more. I've never been here before, and I don't really get chances to go to, they got an incidents in Brazil, a UFO incident in Brazil while we're here. Oh, look at this. So let's look at Brazil, you all. Oh, this is really good. So a UFO incident in Brazil. Thank you, Nancy Thames. We looking at your page. A UFO incident in Brazil where ammonia-based life forms. Have you heard of an ammonia-based life form, you all? Yes, a giant cookie cutter, Andy Marier. Yes, that would seem like something like that. Yeah, I could picture that. So ammonia life forms, cases of extraterrestrial encounters are reported all over the world. However, when the topic is brought up, the first and foremost incident that comes to everyone's mind is the 1947, see you later, Rainbow Turtle, of Roswell UFO crash. So reports regarding the Roswell included a crash flying saucer containing extraterrestrials. Beings or corpses were recovered and continues to spark theories and controversy today. No official explanation or confirmation has been made, whether it crashed a hot air balloon or any experimental military craft or a real UFO. So this is the illustration, you all. This right here. That right there looks kind of like the shape of what's in the sky at the observatory on the south-facing camera. It's that, look at that rim right there, you all. If we were to take that rim and turn it sideways, just look at the rim, please. And if you're looking at the rim, if I was to come over here, I got to go find that screenshot of the UFO rim in Hawaii, right above the southern telescope in Hawaii. We got to get to it, you all, because it was wild. I just got to get to it. I had a hard time finding it last night, too, which was kind of strange, but I kind of did. But you can see like from this shape right here, this is like a, it's an oval shape. And there's the video on here that we did when we first saw this coming out to view right here. There is some kind of circular disc up there in the sky that is creating that. A circular disc. It's not the volcano, it's not the moon, it's not the sun, it's some kind of an object in the sky. And I think it would probably make sense that it was something like this, really, and I'm serious. Something like this in the sky. So although the Roswell incident in New Mexico remains unsolved, 75 years later, that's a long time. Our world has changed so much. A strange encounter dubbed Brazil's Roswell is making headlines 26 years after it was first made headlines in the United States. ammonia-based life forms with silicone skin. Oh my gosh. Have you heard of that? This is the first I've heard of that. Silicone skin. Fox claims himself that more photos and videos of the alleged extraterrestrials, which witnesses claim were recovered in '96 in Virginia. No, in Virginia. Wow, just take away the H and you'll have Gina, but Virginia, Brazil, either alive or dead, may be released in the near future. So you think they're going to release this, you all? I know. So this person, he's got photos and videos of the alleged extraterrestrials, which witnesses claim were recovered in January of 1996 in Brazil. A Reddit user was inspired to purpose an insightful on the documentary subject matter, where ammonia-based life forms with silicone skin. Don't roll your eyes, they say. They watched the UFO case, moment of contact, and there was a particular set of consistency reported characteristics about the crash site. So, let's see this. Details the moment of contact that gave rise to the ammonia-based life form hypothesis. There were 3 points that gave rise to the life form. How did they appear? They reported that they had bulbous red eyes, dark, almost black skin, and some kind of extremely oily skin. I haven't heard of this before, so this is what they say. First and foremost, the aliens had bulbous red eyes. I guess they were protruding outward. Dark, almost black skin, and some extremely oily skin. So black people with the Sherry gang. I don't know what that means. The second point, this is interesting. Regarding their emotions, the extraterrestrials were extremely scared. Oh no, they were extremely sacred. And one of the firemen at the site reported that one of the aliens was crying like a baby. Well, that says sacred. Maybe they meant scared. A policeman who was stationed at the site of the crash was easily able to control the crying alien. But the poster learned that the crash site had a strong ammonia-like odor. I don't know who James Fox is. And that the 2 live creatures said to have been in town left a strong ammonia-like scent that did not go away with cleaning and lingered for many days. Eyes wide open, you cry BS? Well, that's your own opinion. They are highly poisonous and can be absorbed through the skin, their digestive tract, and lungs. When they make their way into a person's bloodstream, it can trigger a cascade of symptoms. Swollen joints. When people get some swollen joints, I've had them. Itchy skin and chest pain. We need to know why this information is crucial. So coming back to the officer, he was transdermally introduced to a high dose of toxic ammonia derivative. It could stand to infer that obviously his symptoms would include skin rashes as well as a host of internal problems as a reflection of toxification. I do remember a UFO sighting in Brazil, and it was kept hush-hush in the United States. They would not report it. Oh, look at that ammonia molecule, you all. That's pretty interesting. Airborne, yeah. Ammonia, that's really interesting shape. The police officer who died was one of the few or only man who came in contact with the oily black skin of the extraterrestrial. Could it be due to the exposure to the carbon-based world? Well, let's dig deep. Is it possible that their skin was melting? Oh my gosh, that's sad. Or disintegrating into a form that was poisonous to humans. Witnesses reported this crash site had an ammonia-like odor and chemical fire. So again, it raises the question whether they were a victim of chemical burns, and the vegetation that looked burned could be due to chemicals rather than fire. The legs of the aliens were similar to the burnt human body legs. So this determines the condition of the aliens was due to the exposure of poisonous air. Aniline is the simplest aromatic amine. Studying them, you all, the consistency is like that of an oily liquid at a room temperature. Also, aniline vapor is extremely flammable. So the ammonia-based entities that breathed in an ammonia-based atmosphere, they were doomed, is what happened. The eyes of the aliens were red and bulging, which indicated they were alive, but they were suffocating in Earth's air. The aniline of their skin oxidized in the Earth's atmosphere and breaking down into an oily substance and emitting an unpleasant ammonia odor. The process was hastened by exposure to sunlight. And if this is true, it means that these creatures were likely suffering for days on end, suffocating in fear, and likely knew their demise was ensured. The officer died of myocarditis. Okay, let's look at this, you all. So the unfortunate cop, let's listen to this, who was exposed to the toxins most likely died of myocarditis, hemolytic anemia, or a secondary infection, just as a simple abstraction predicted for the aliens. So it's only publicly known fatality connected to the Varginha UFO encounter. Other deaths may have been, James Fox. Who is this James Fox, you all? Other deaths, okay, so there we got it. Their eyes were burnt up. We must thank Simple Abstraction for laying out the ammonia-based life forms theory with all the logical facts. This has made all the ufologists and researchers consider the fact that ammonia-based life form exists in our universe, and they are trying to uncover more details relating to them. So it is evident that many details regarding the UFO crash have been covered up by the government, and it could be possible that we will see more photos and details regarding these ammonia-based life forms in the near future. Please remember, we all have different opinions. Think before you speak or write something that is cruel to others. We are only humans, and we wish you clear skies and white eyes to share your experiences, you all. So, this is kind of interesting about that. But the UFOs in the ocean, and then you have, look at this, we got this Buzz Aldrin confirms the UFO sightings in the sci-fi's Alien on the Moon. There are infinite versions of you in the multiverse. Oh my goodness. Science confirms it. UFOs on Mars. Secrets from Space Program Insider. Pisionics trainer. So I left the link to this right here in the description of this video. And you all can look at it, you all. But as for this life in the oceans, and as for the 20,000 leagues under the sea, and the huge gash that was symmetrical in nature right here of the Scotia, there was a gaped symmetrical gash in the shape of an isosceles triangle was in the ship. It pierced through the sheet of iron, and it was so perfectly formed, no punch could have done a cleaner job. Consequently, it must have been produced by a perforating tool uncommon toughness, plus after being launched with a prodigious power and then piercing 4 centimeters into the iron, this tool had to be withdrawn backwards in motion. So no whale or mammal could have done that, you all. It really does sound like there is some type of an alien civilization under the earth, inside the oceans, and they're far more technologically advanced than we are. Really, they are. And what if they have been here longer than we have, for years and years and years, thousands of years? And then you got the Atlanteans, right? The Atlanteans, and if you think about Thoth or Tho, the Atlantean, and the lost city of Atlantis, and then you have Lemuria, and all these warring things that happen, and then you have ancient writings and I think manuscripts and etchings and carvings about the Brahmanas from India and stuff like that, you all. Is that all made up? The Vimanas from India, people flying around on their flying saucers and their ships and stuff like that and having blueprints for how to make such a thing. There's more to it, but it sounds like and it seems like history was covered completely up from this current history on the earth. All books were burned, everything was just hidden away and never to be spoken of again, really, if you think about it. In that the mud earth theory, where the mud flood, where you have buildings that are halfway buried underneath the mud, the giant structures and stuff like that. And it's not like Noah's flood or anything like that. It's like something totally different. There's so many variables out there as to what causes everything. And if there's like a logical explanation, sometimes it's just hush hush and you don't talk about it. Yeah, that's right. When the air hits the exposed skin of the alien, it's death for it. Oh, wow. Andy Marier. Your husband is going to buy 2 telescopes right now. I hope he's able to zoom up really good. They only have like a very small, fine thing like that. Yeah. I would put a gigantic one out there in my yard if I had a good spot for them. But then we have deer around here, and the deer like to rub their antlers on trees and stuff, rub the bark off. Then we have wild animals. Yeah, stuff like that. I wouldn't want it to get damaged. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace is pretty good if you can find something good there. It really is, you all. We got ships all over the place. We really do. All different types of UFOs and things like that. And there's talk of extraterrestrials on the moon. Do they come down to the earth? And what about the ones that come out of the sun? Do they come to the earth? What about the ones who come up in Hawaii? Do they come up out of the oceans? What about the cylindrical things that come down from the skies in Hawaii near the observatories? They go straight down into a shaft into the earth. There's bound to be shafts that open up, even in the volcanoes. They go straight down in there. Who do they belong to? There's so many unanswered questions, although there are answers. We're just not being told. They're not admitting it. And a lot of people have their suspicions as to who and what we're dealing with. They do. So I am going to go. Thank you all for tuning in. And it's interesting. You can go check out her website. I've never heard of her in my life. I just stumbled upon it. So today, right here, right now. Yeah, that's right. What if the earth is much bigger? Yeah, we've looked into that too, that it's a whole lot bigger than what we are told it is. Yeah, that there in itself. Oh, you're also very welcome. So thank you. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. I hope to see you later. Thank you.